Hello, my name's Abby Rachel Cosgrave, and this is iGaming Next Power Hour Industry Update. Diversity. In 2021, it should not need much of an introduction, particularly when it comes to female inclusion in the male society and male workforce. You would imagine over 100 years after women were first given the vote that this would have become a bit of a non-topic to be discussing at this time. Yet here we are. In gaming, one of the most innovative, forward-thinking industries in which I've had the fortune to work, we seem to be in a place in 2021 where we're having to go back and discuss basic female inclusion. It's not a topic that's new to the gaming industry, and it's one that's been touched on many times over the years. It's recently been brought back to light due to a published panel of some 52 members by the Global Gaming Awards. If you haven't heard about it already, at the start of June, Gambling Insider, the organizer or publication behind the Global Gaming Awards, issued their new June issue. Within that issue, it featured the panel. So the panel which will go on to decide the 15 different categories of gaming awards. And this panel is made up of 52 members. So 52 leading executives across the gaming industry are put together, and they then assess all the awards that will be given out across the gaming industry. It's a prestigious award. It's an award that's well sought after, and it's one that many people want. They further have one of the big four auditing firms in place. So far, so good. On publication of this panel in early June, many people across the industry were surprised to see that out of 52 panel members, 51 of them were male. This means that by the time that this issue was published, someone had sat there and allowed for image after image after image of male to be put there without anyone raising the question, why aren't there enough females on this panel? And this is without even looking at the other issues with diversity with there, because there was also a lot of noise to be made about that. But for the sake of clarity, it's easier at this time just to focus on the female to male issue. Many people across the industry, many females made a lot of noise about this, but unfortunately from the side of the awards organisers and from the side of the companies that were involved on the panel, the silence has been deafening. There's been very little response and very little outcome to what's happened. It's almost that if people thought, well, the noise will be temporary, and if we ignore it and go ahead as planned anyway, then perhaps we'll get it better next time. I don't believe that anyone thinks that this was intentionally done. I don't believe that anyone thinks that anybody wanted this outcome and wanted 51 members of a 52 strong panel to be male. But the fact that this still can happen as an oversight, or the fact that this could be the best that we could do as an industry, is concerning as a woman in this industry. The fact that nothing has been improved since is concerning to a woman in this industry. I've been in touch with many women, some who work at the companies where their CEOs or senior management members were involved in the panel. And many of those women have felt unable to speak out as loudly. And that in itself highlights another issue with the diversity. When issues like this arise, that in itself is not always the problem. Issues can arise and they can be a learning process for all of the industry. So if this had happened, and if there had been a reaction to it, if we'd have seen companies putting in place policies which would prevent their executives supporting any event going forwards, which was seen to not be supporting diversity, which wasn't considering diversity when it's putting itself together, then we would have moved one step forwards. But in burying our head in the sand, here we are not moving forwards at all. One of the things that I've been asked since being so vocal about this issue is why. Why is this so important? It's one, judging panel. If you look at the statistics across the gaming industry, you can see that employee workforces are more diverse. In fact, many companies have come out citing the statistics, and it's fantastic. In fact, since I joined the gambling industry in 2014, you can see that over that 7-year period, improvements have been made. You can see that there are more women in the workforce. You can see there's more women at mid-management level, and you can certainly see there's more women, particularly in certain roles, at senior management level. And that's great. Nobody's saying that everything is wrong. Nobody is saying that the industry hasn't progressed. what people are now saying is the industry still has some work to do. Why is diversity so important, particularly in an industry like gambling? Why is representation important? And then also, why is it not enough? Diversity is making sure that your statistics represent what is actually out there in the world. So your employee numbers will represent the reality of how many women there are. The second step is inclusion. So by the time you have numbers that are representative throughout your workforce, making sure that those people are included is centrally important. For any woman that's ever worked in the gambling industry, one of the main things that you may hear when questioning a decision that's been forced on you is to just get on board. When questioning a process being implemented incorrectly or questioning whether things might be better done in a different way, just get on board. This is where inclusion fails, because you could have a workforce of 100 people, 5 who were male, and 95 who were female. But if that 95 females have to just get on board with the directions of the 5 males, that workforce is not inclusive. Allowing for diverse voices to speak within your organization or to speak within the industry, that's taking a step from diversity towards inclusion. Inclusion could be spoken as what I'm doing here today. I'm given a platform to speak my views. They're not being silenced, and hopefully they'll be heard. After inclusion, you then get to what is phrased as belonging. Diversity, inclusion, belonging. And many people take the phrase belonging to mean simply feeling comfortable, feeling that you belong within an industry or an organization. I always take it one step further, because to me, true belonging is being able to guide the direction of that industry or organization. I don't think there's anyone that could argue or state otherwise than gambling is a male-led industry. It's a male-led industry led by males with a product that's for males. And it works. It makes money. And there's very little incentive sometimes to change that. And any change away from it is slow. And at some point, including a more diverse voice into that product might be the way to go forwards. I've spoken previously in articles that I've written about on this subject about new founders with a founder female voice, what could be changed and why aren't women taking the step into founder position. We have numerous talented founders and CEOs across the gambling industry, the majority of whom are male, and no one is here to question their skill set or their talent level. What I am here speaking of or starting a discussion about is whether allowing for a greater female guiding voice within the industry could lead to a product that isn't being regulated out of business, that maybe did things slightly differently. So what we need to do as an industry, and we're doing some of the right things already, we are seeing increased numbers of females on C-levels and boards, and that's fantastic. Including and giving them a platform for the voice is the second one, allowing them to speak on your behalf or allowing them to speak in these forums. That's step 2. But then giving them belonging, allowing for that voice to be heard, that's step 3. And this industry is not there yet. So once we start achieving step 3, if your business is not already doing it, you need to try and find a channel to allow for more diverse voices to reach founder level, board level, executive level. And that takes me on to suggestion number 2. Let's create some more diverse founders. I've gone out there with some suggestions, and I've spoken to some events companies about this. It's something I've been lobbying quite hard for. So the business needs to get together and provide, whether it's in your organization separately and you create founders and you build businesses alongside them, or whether it's the industry as a whole, which creates a platform for diverse founders, females, but all forms of diverse founders, to be able to come forwards and to be able to put these ideas forward. And last but not least, I believe that mentorship is important. And one of the things that you often find is that where you want to help women or where you want to help anyone from a diverse background, there will be mentorships set up which pair you to someone similar. And they are really worthy things to do. I can understand why they happen. To put a younger woman with a woman that's been in the industry as a mentor for some years, it can be helpful, and there's certainly a level of guidance to be there. But in all honesty, the people that are achieving in this industry are still inherently majority male. So where we're at that level, there needs to be something done where people can have access to those mentors. The important thing with progress is that it never stops moving. And in order to get better, you can never be comfortable in where you are. You need to keep moving forwards. You need to enable voices to encourage why we move forwards. And as an industry, these ongoing discussions, even events such as this panel that have led to these discussions, they should be seen as beneficial to us and all. As has been said constantly over the past few weeks, we can do better, but together we can do better. Now, thank you for listening to me. I'm going to leave you with the rest of the conversations that we have on iGaming Power Hour.